I'm a disabled sugar baby. This is why I find it empowering. Now, this was quite the gymnastics, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like, there's not, it's kind of one of my favorite things where, you know, I know people that do OnlyFans, and a decent amount of them. Yeah. And I know people that do actual porn. You know what I mean? We're in fucking New York entertainment industry. You know a lot of fucking wild people. I was also, you know, in the fucking Toronto party scene, and I've also banged a lot of Instagram hoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know people like this, and most of them have like a, yeah, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, almost none of them start to tell me like, actually, it's actually better and everyone should do this and it was the most empowered. They're just like, yeah, I don't know, I wanted to make money or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well,
like,
we don't hang out with
idiot.
those crazy like leftists who are like, yeah, you know, sex work is empowering.
They're trying to rationalize
like
it's
like every woman should do it, and my kid, if I'm lucky enough to have a daughter,
it's like how we know guys that were even male strippers, which is like, you know, honestly, like in some way, you know, the optics of it aren't as bad because it's funnier a little bit.
Yeah,
and even none of those guys are like, yeah, this is the greatest. Everyone's like, yeah, it was a bad period.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we're even at the point, though, with OnlyFans where if like 10 years ago, you know, she did OnlyFans and people are like, yeah, whatever. Nobody cares.
I actually don't care. Dude, I don't know if I would fucking, like, I have no problem with this shit. Like, I actually don't have, like, because I consider myself, like, such a fucking pirate lifestyle, I'm pretty down for, like, some wild shit. You know what I mean? Like I said. I'm
just saying, like...
so which is why I'm, like... I don't care that these people are doing it. No. It's just funny to me, like that they have to like come up with like ways why it's actually fucking sick.
Yeah, of course.
Which I guess you would. If you're doing all this stuff, you need to have your brain make
sense. Well, especially when
there's
this stigma around it, then they have to be like. I'm just saying, like the stigma is just disappearing to the point where like,
just don't tell me that it's normal.
Yeah, for sure, exactly.
But it's a fitting article since Adam 22 was on this week. But people think sugar dating is all about sleeping with middle-aged millionaires. And yes, there's a part of that. And I would be lying to say if I didn't have a daddy issues to some degree, or I didn't enjoy being taken to fancy restaurants. But ultimately, what I love about being a sugar baby is far deeper than materialistic benefits. It's the most of the older men I've met have never judged me once for being blind. So when she said she's disabled, she's blind, which by the way, I don't know if you saw this. They were doing these articles with disabilities. There's this guy that said they had a big in the Canadian one, The Star. They had this big piece about this dude. His life was so hard. He goes, "My disability benefits are about to run out, and I'm not sure what we're gonna do." And it's kind of like, you know, The Stars now. It'll just be like, this guy's broke. Wouldn't that suck? Like, you know what I mean?
Of course.
And some of the articles are like, I had to move in with my parent. Like, you know what I mean? It's like these articles about like, yeah, you're right. That would suck if you were like unemployed and 45 and lived with your mom. But it's like, I don't know if you need this story about it, right? But the disabilities that they pushed, some of them are like, some of the disabilities are, it's like, he had everyone in the gamut, like anxiety, blah, blah. Yeah, like, this guy was like on disability for having like, you know, he's depressed. Like getting, this is where it's out of control, where you go, I don't know if you need to get like $2,000 a week because you're depressed. Like, that's just pushing it.
Yeah.
It's like, if you want to say, hey, someone's blind, the government should give them money. I think everyone's like, even on a micro level, right? Imagine we're like, you know, you always take things back to like a first principles. Imagine you lived in a little society that has 100 people in the town, right? And one guy's born, he's like, his legs don't work, and it's like a town, and everyone goes, yeah, we'll all pitch in a little money for this guy. Or this woman's blind, like we're all going to pitch in to, you know, to buy her food or whatever, because she can't really have a proper job. And then the one guy goes, you know, I don't like being around people, I'm depressed. Like, you go, yeah, well, we're not going to push the hat around for him, I don't think.
Yeah, you go, they're like, yes, so are we.
Yeah, it's a lot of people are. You know, we're not putting the hat around for that.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I guess, yeah, blindness is a disability.
There's no question. But also, she's kind of like none of the, you know, in real life, it's hard for me to find a partner because I'm blind, which I can get that. But she's saying, she's like, well, the guys didn't judge me because you're blind. Like, the like guys who are hiring a prostitute don't care that you're blind. Like, I think that would rule.
Yeah. I mean, I prefer a mute personally.
Yeah. Literally. She's like, you know, if you're especially if you're kind of like this rich dude that's kind of fat and weird looking or something like that, and you're just like, and then you're like, they didn't judge me because I'm blind. It's like, if you're a rich billionaire cheating on your wife,
yeah.
they're paying a premium for you to be
for the
blind, my
fuck,
friend.
Yeah.
Like that was the part to me that was so funny, was her being like, they didn't care that I was blind. It's like the guys that are like coming over to your house to like get drunk and fuck you, like,
Oh yeah.
and they're like, some of these guys are probably married, like high profile dudes hiring a prostitute. The fact that you are blind is like, could they be so lucky?
Yeah, and I'm sure she's pretty attractive. They're like, yeah, I'm not here for your fucking how your eyes work.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit how your eyes work.
But I just thought it was
smash.
She's like, these guys are so not judgmental. It's like, judgmental. It's a fucking win.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
That should be a thing. They go blind prostitutes. Like, you should be paying a premium for that. You go, so there's not even a chance she could identify me in a lineup. There's no way that this girl could like post a photo of me or anything like that.
She can't get into your phone.
She can't get.
None of that shit.
So blind is very different disability than,
Yeah.
some other thing. So she's not, it's like, it's a very, they put them all in the same category to be like blind and like, I'm fibromyalgia.
Yeah. That's true.
It's a little bit of a different category.
Have you heard, I heard recently, I didn't know this, Helen Keller? Apparently,
a lot of conspiracies on Helen Keller.
Yeah, I didn't know this, but apparently she's like, it's a fucking, she actually couldn't communicate and her handler was just a con artist.
That's great. I heard I've heard not that one. I've heard the conspiracy theory that it's all fake. And at one point there was someone that was doing a TikTok video that made me laugh like 2 years ago, where they were reading the article about Helen Keller. And at one point that said she learned how to be a pilot, and they were like, well, I'm tapped out. It's like you want to tell me that she learned to read with Braille. You're not telling me she flew a fucking plane.
Yeah,
it was just like,
that I didn't know.
They were just like all this ridiculous shit. They said Helen Keller did, and one of them that she fucking learned to fly a plane.
Well, I think that's insane. I never heard that, but I think, and
it was pushing it.
It does make sense because like it's kind of like her handler or whatever was like, only I can communicate with her. Nobody can communicate her but me.
I have always thought that it doesn't make sense that if you can't see, hear, which
you can't see or hear.
Or hear, was there anyone else that she can do?
Well, those, I go, how do you learn to like Braille?
I was going to say see, hear, or speak, but the speaking was part of not being able to hear.
Yeah. So it's like you can't hear, you can't see. Like, how can you?
Doesn't make sense.
Like, how can you get like the original input?
Well, I guess it's this. You feel the dots, and then they show you an apple, so you're like, that dot is that
see.
apple. No, you feel it.
You feel the dot, but you
and
can't
then you
see
feel an apple.
And you feel an apple.
So and then you bite the apple, so you're like, I know this is that dots.
I guess. One dot's an apple. What happens when we run out of dots?
2 dots is jugs.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure maybe because someone can explain it, but that does like, in terms of like Occam's razor,
yeah, because if
answer.
you found out, like, and they were showing like breasts, and then I had to let you feel the breasts, so you're getting treated, and they go, okay, this is breast. They do the Braille, and then they show you the titties, and then every time you're doing the test, you always keep flunking that one. So they
4 dots.
Yeah, they keep having to show you. It's like, no, okay, you're like, I have to learn that one again, and then you go, okay, and then what is it again?
But that does make sense that like, Helen Keller had just no idea where she was ever. Right. And they just
had a handler that,
and this handler was pimping her out.
Yeah. And then so did she become famous in her time? Was that a whole thing? And she wrote a book or something?
I think so. Yeah.
I wonder if Handler was hitting it.
I think Handler was also a woman.
Oh, okay. So it's a woman con artist. Now I've seen everything.
No, women make great pimps.
Do they?
Yeah. There's lots of female pimps. They're called madams.
Yeah, I know that there's madams. That's true.
Yeah.
No, you know what that is? Female pimps don't make good pimps, but they make good pimps when they get to run a brothel. They get to make, because they run it like a home. They get to
they run it like a business. They run a little more like a business.
I don't think they make good pimps when they have to fucking go, shake the guy down. They basically have to hire a guy to do it.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah. That's always.
Well, half the job of a pimp is like, keeping the hose in line, but more importantly, keeping anyone in line that, touches the hose
Totally.
properly.
Oh, no, there's security for that stuff. You get men for that job.
Okay.
Or a really scary lesbian.
So they make better pimps when they're like very successful, but they can't be a good like single like one-off like mom and pop pimp operation.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Well, you'd have to hire other people out of the gate.
Yeah, you got to scale.
So you've already have a $50,000 salary of your muscle right before you've even started pimping.
Yeah.
Pimping ain't easy.
Pimping is, I've heard it's not easy. Mm-hmm. It's weird too that pimping became like, remember when we were younger and pimping was like cool? Kind of like people were like, it was like you joke about
Snoop
it.
Dogg, yeah.
All that stuff. And then now they just call it human trafficking.
But people still do it. Like
I know, but pimping became human trafficking. Like they just
like what Snoop Dogg? This is what like argument people always make. It's like, people are like, oh, cancel for slapped an ass. It was like, little rappers that are in Disney movies are just like, yeah, I trafficked women and then beat the shit out of them if they fucking wronged
for
me.
sure. But like, everybody like pimping, you're like, oh, that seems cool. And then, but like, if you go, yeah, but Snoop Dogg's a human trafficking ain't easy. And you go, oh God.
Human trafficking hits way harder.
Yeah, way harder.
You're right. Like if someone introduced Snoop Dogg as like, hey, he's like the guy who's like the rapper, he raps about trafficking women.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck, dude? Get this guy in jail.
That would be, yeah. But they don't like.
But they changed the terminology. Like I don't remember hearing the term human trafficking when I was like. I remember there was this documentary, American Pimp, and it was all about these real pimps. And they
human
made
trafficking,
cool.
I think, was more when you were bringing them across borders. So the human.
No, it's not. That was what.
No, but I think it was at the time. Like the human traffickers was like the people that were like bringing the girls over in the boat. And stuff like
there is that too.
And then they hand them off to the pimps who pimp.
But
them.
you can still be a No, it's basically just pimping, but you can still do it like in you could traffic a woman in your country.
Well, human trafficking hits a lot harder than pimping. You're right.
Fuck yeah.
He's like a rapper, human trafficker.
Yeah. He goes, kiss my human trafficking hand. Like,
you're right. Like Cat Williams he's like, yeah, this is my human trafficking cup.
Yeah. You go, oh.
Necklaces that say human trafficker. Yeah.
You're like, fuck, dude.
I mean,
that's what they're getting fucking R. Kelly for.
Big human trafficking. They got them in a cage and they're that wouldn't do as good.
Keeping them on drugs.
Yeah. When they talk about the pimping, because they have that thing like the pimp commandments or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But what their commandments are, I think we talked about that with Adam as well when we did that episode. But
that was the crack commandments.
No, I said something and he was like, there was the normal commandments.
Oh,
first.
the porn commandments.
Yeah, but and he said there's also the actual commandments.
Yeah.
But they had the crack commandments, but the pimp commandments would be a lot less sexy if they were just like, keep them on drugs and you fucking you beat them shit out. But like rappers have done raps about like punching them in the face and stuff.
And being pimps, but they were like,
they don't do the keeping them on drugs part. They don't do that.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, but like they were pretty
get
open
them
about
on
pimping.
crack till they lose their teeth, and then you traffic. Yeah, human trafficking is a lot less sexy than the word pimping.
Dark.
It's very much,
but it's
darker.
really the same thing.
Well, she says her life was hard in school and she was bullied for being blind, that's one of those ones where you go, if that was actually happening a lot, that it actually is kind of sad where you're just like, if you're a bully, like I get fucking kids, it's everyone's fighting for themselves a little bit, but it's like, and kids can be cruel and all that shit, but it's like bullying a blind girl's a bit much.
Yeah, for sure. And
hey,
also,
blindy, come on.
I mean, dude, kids are pieces of shit. But also, like, the fact that they find this empowering, I'm sure there's tons of girls who used to be fat who are sugar babies, and they're like, I also find this empowering. Like, I used to get made fun of for being fucking obese. And,
well, that's a lot of the only fan girls that were fat. Yeah. And now they're just
they're like, now I make money off of it. Take that. Grade 7 bully.
Fellas, this is the New Clips channel. Right now, we're at 3K. Hit us with a subscribe. Let's get those numbers up. Very much appreciated. Let's get to 5K at the very least. All right. Thank you. Peace.